Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Draw 7. I am Ziggy, and here we are with Sam the Man and James Weatherman Dugan.
Sup?
Hello.
We're going to be here to discuss about the changes of Pro Tour as it goes more moving forward. We're also going to discuss the first Magicfest of the year at Oakland, and we're going to dive right into it. So let's go ahead and talk about Pro Tour's, aka Mythical Championships, going forward. With the structure, the last Pro Tour will be Dallas-Fort Worth. And with that, we will be switching systems over to the newer professional system based on the Magic Pro League. And from that system, we're going to be changing how invites are added to the player system. We may see that the open events that they have told us in December may reflect like the original PTQ system. Which would be very nice to do in the forwardness. We also think that the way it's going to go forward is that with this system, we will be losing the pro points. And with the loss of the pro points, that means the loss of the Pro Players Club, which means there's less incentive to attend things like Magicfest as we go forward. But it's not all loss. It's not all bad. We can't know more until later, but with this information going, we can definitely see that it's taken a shift towards more of an esports culture than it was like Magic Tabletop being Magic Tabletop. It's now Magic Tabletop plus esports or Magic esports plus tabletop. However, which way they decide to roll the dice, we will have to find out. But Oakland has happened. First Magicfest of the year, first major tournament of 2019. With Oakland, it was 1,100 participants, and we got some modern slinging going on. We got Burn and KCI doing well in day one. We've got a couple other deck lists that were out there. Was it zero, maybe No Infect? No Infect? Don't think so. One Infect in top 16. One Infect in top 16. So one Infect for the day. There's also some Is It Phoenixes doing well for the weekend. There was Steven Solis was doing well. But we have James here to do the top 8 breakdown of the tournament.
This week's top 8 was headed by Eli Casis with a transforming version of Is It Phoenix. Opting to splash in green, he maximized the effectiveness of Ancient Grudge. Next up, Michael Cochran in second with KCI, one of the 4 that made the top 8 over the weekend. Alex Olson piloted Azorius Control to a spot in the top with Jace over Teferi's with a Jace over Teferi split in Planeswalkers. Valakut, piloted by Marshall Jankowski, and Modular Affinity Hardened Scales by Garth Draculus, round out the spread of variety with KCI taking the rest of the spots. Sam Black notably finished top 8 with one of the KCI decks. Back to you.
Thank you, James. So there's top 8. Notice how Burn is not there. Burn is 9th and 10th in this list. And
I believe you mentioned that Burn was all over this tournament.
Undefeated day 1. Keynote, and not here in top 8 at all.
So why do you think that is?
Consistency. So the KCI deck, we can agree, is a consistent deck.
Yes.
Right? It consistently kills you 4 or 5 turns into the game. However, Burn is kind of like a vomit deck. It wants to vomit everything out into the playfield, kill you
Very
before 4.
On
Draws,
your hands.
opening hands, shuffles the mulligans. With that loss of consistency, that's probably why it didn't do too great. And it has great cards against KCI. Eidolon the Great Level. It does fantastic work. But it just feels like that KCI has the consistency to just ignore it. Or say, I bet you can't get X or Y. With KCI being there, you have to respect it in the sideboard. Things like Shatterstorm and Ancient Grudge. Hitting select pieces.
What decks would be good against KCI? What decks, like, is it fast linear decks? Is it really controlling decks that can keep blowing up their stuff? Is it just all about the sideboard? What?
It's probably more linear decks. Maybe something like with like a decent sideboard answer, because when you answer KCI, you're also answering affinity. You'll notice that there was no regular affinity. There was the Hardened Scales monster, the one that doesn't just flat out lose to Shatterstorms with the destruction of lands. It's a little bit slower pace, but it's better for the deck list moving forward. And with things like KCI, you really needed targeted removal. There are people who say that the answer was surgical extraction. Well, if you look at it in a whole, there comes points in the match where surgical extraction isn't good enough. And while surgical extraction is a decent answer to KCI, I feel like you're going to need to attack it in the form of making sure that KCI doesn't resolve. In the essence of maybe it is a control deck where we are actually trying to answer Crackland, but you can't hold up blank mana forever. So it comes down to maybe there needs to be a card that just straight up, fracks it the turn it comes down.
Possibility of banning for KCI?
It's a discussable point. I don't think it's viable. I think KCI is going to be here. I mean, it didn't win the tournament. Is it Phoenix did? That's something to note. The new dredge deck of the format, Is It Phoenix, only been here for about a month. With that, it's more liable to say that we could ban Phoenix, but banning Phoenix isn't going to solve anything, and banning KCI isn't going to solve jack diddly. But it's this fair statement to say that you should be respecting it in all quadrants, especially with Modern moving forward for the rest of the year. Like, it's going to be here. We'll have to see what the new set brings as they come along, but I think KCI is probably going to be another staple top tier list moving forward. Speaking of future Modern, we have Allegiance releasing at the end of January, and with Allegiance releasing, there will be more cards accessible to us to play with Modern. So in that Modern kind of forecasting, I think you had some ideas.
I have a few cards I just want to ask you about. First of all, let's go with talking about burn. Skewer the Critics. That is the 3 mana, deal 3 damage, but has the spectacle cost of just 1 red. So does that help burn? Does it make it more consistent because it can run more bolts? What does that do for burn? Or is that just a minor upgrade over like a Lava Spike?
I don't believe it's like a minor upgrade over Lava Spike. So Lava Spike still costs 1, right?
Yeah.
And in order to activate the spectacle, they have to be burned for the turn. So obviously, I guess it's instant speed, right?
It is an instant.
It's arguable to say that if you were to put it in competition in the burn deck, it would have to be discussed in the Rift Bolt slot. But Rift Bolt by itself is a good spell because you can suspend it. Obviously, it only activates the next turn, but you're spending 1 mana, burning them for free the next turn. It's debatable whether or not it's better than Searing Blood.
Yeah.
Or something like along those lines where you're burning a creature, burning the opponent. I don't think it is. I don't think it's a viable card moving forward. It feels more like a standard answer to the 2 mana lightning strikes we've been having for a while now.
One thing you do think is going to see play, Growth Spiral.
Growth Spiral, yeah.
Green and a blue, instant speed. It's basically an Explorer.
The instant Explorer cantrip.
Yeah, you draw a card, can play an additional land.
I think it will be... I think I will
put
see
a land
once.
Into play, I believe.
It's put a land from hand into play.
Yeah,
just any land.
It
not
has
basic.
to work at instant speed.
Yeah,
so.
but not any basic. It's any land. I can put Valakuts into play at instant speed, which is very exciting. I think I wanted to make it C-play, and if it does C-play, it's going to be in a blue-black. It's going to be in the Teamer Valakut list. It's the days of old where we were playing Scape Shift and just Titans, or no Titans at all and just Scape Shifting, where we're playing like a more control version, where our only creatures are Sakura Tribe Elders and Obstinate Balefs out of the sideboard. That's probably... It's a good point because like we had Explorer in the past, and then Cryptic Command was hard to cast, but now that we have an instant speed Explorer card, it feels better than main decking. You can now justify to main deck more islands or blue sources to play the Growth Spirals over the regular Explorers, which makes the deck a lot more flexible. And we have Mind Sculptor now, and it would be enjoyable to see how Mind Sculptor plays out. Probably not as good as like playing a Teferi or something, but
Prime Speaker Vanifar. It's the new pod.
The new pod.
Is it good enough to make pod decks work?
3-4, 3-2, 2-3?
I don't know.
2-4. 2-4 is the official answer. So 2-4, maybe. It's blue-green, right?
Yeah, blue. It's 4 mana, 2 generic blue-green.
So putting it in pod is fine. If you say pod is alive because of this card, you're probably wrong. Now, the reason I say this is because it's an activated ability. You still have to get through things like maybe like the Harsh Mentor from Amonkhet block in like the mono red deck. Like playing cards like that could punish this card to pieces. And because it's a creature, it's susceptible to removal spells that kill it. Obviously, the one that comes to mind is Fatal Push. Fatal Push crushes it. It is abrupt decay proof at 4 cost, and it is lightning bolt proof.
A thing to point out is it is very susceptible to Fatal Push because it's
Path
right at
of
the
Exile.
4 and
Path of Exile.
Path of Exile is also going to kill it. It's when it dies to half the good 1-mana removal spells, maybe not.
Yeah, it's cute. Let's label it that. Like, it's cute. If it does happen, and like I go turn on my TV and there's a coverage match with somebody playing Creature Pod with a Creature Pod, then we did it, boys. But along those lines, I don't think it's like a good forecast.
Speaking of dies to removal, new removal spell, Bedevil. It is 3 mana, but it kills artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers.
At instant speed.
At instant speed.
All right. Yeah. So I'll go on quote, better than Hero's Downfall is what this is.
Well, yeah.
Even with the red cost, this may actually be the card that puts Jund back on the map. After all the bannings and unbannings it's had, casting Blood Raid with Cascade into Bedevil feels great.
Also, you have Bedevil and Kolaghan's Command as main deck artifact 8. So
maybe it's the answer to KCI with discard spells.
Yeah.
Maybe you pitch the KCI and shoot the crawler. It does enchantments.
No enchantments.
It's artifact, creature, land.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gives them extra reaches in game one.
Well, it's artifact, creature, or planeswalker.
Planeswalker, that's what it is. Sorry. So it gives them extra reach. Yeah. Now we have more cards that can kill Tefiris or Mind Sculptors that isn't a creature.
Wasn't that also said about Assassin's Trophy for John?
That is exactly what it was said about Assassin's Trophy for John. That it's the 2 mana Vindicate that they needed, but it ended up being like I can Vindicate X or Y, but it still ramps my opponent into like say Primeval Titan to crush my soul. Like hitting an Amulet of Vigor is still going to put them forward on the board, and this Bedevil doesn't. It just is a raw removal card without a payback price.
Yeah. Speaking of removal, Deputy of Detention. It is a detention sphere on a body. Does that make it better than Detention Sphere?
No, it doesn't. It's 1/3, right?
It's a 1/3.
Oh my god, no, absolutely not.
But it can be hit Collected Company and Court of Calling.
That's a good point to make out. So human.
No, I believe it is a Vidalcan.
Oh.
If it was a human,
it was a human. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We'd have a real conversation here with humans actually getting like a decent card. As if ours it goes forward.
We have a thing for humans next.
Yeah, we do. But it's so with the way it's working out is that it's nice. The way it looks is it's very nice, and being susceptible to bolt is so bad.
Yeah.
Being susceptible to lightning bolt is awful. It's bolt path, fatal push. I can go on. Even D-Spear itself, like it goes on and on. Like it's just super removable. And if there was like somewhere to trick it, where like because it's a creature, I can put it into play in Aether Vial, flicker it. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like immediately turned it off in my head when it said I died a lightning bolt.
You mentioned humans earlier when we were talking about the sphere on a body. One thing you think for humans is Hero of Precinct 1.
So yes, I think it's, I'll be very honest with you, sideboard tech, not main deck tech, to help you power Perish through the games that get cloggy. And while it's a good card, I don't think it will be played in most deck lists. I don't think it's going to be like the answer humans is looking to push forward, but it's something to denote that is the most powerful human we've had in quite some time outside of Freebooter. So
another human that might show up in sideboards, Lavinia.
Yeah.
Wall of Text. So
Wall of Text. If you belong to Azorius and you're a legendary, you belong to the Wall of Text Club. So she's good. We already
Yeah.
know she's going to be there to host Tron. She's already there to host a bunch of other silly decks.
Is she the Tron killer?
She may be the Tron killer. She may be David against the Goliath that is Tron in Game 1 meta games that have to be watched on camera.
Finally the Tron is the 20th Tron killer going to be the actual Tron killer?
I think she is David. Round 1 of Oakland is a Tron mirror match. Usually we have to watch the trash decks play round 1, and I say trash includes Tron. I will hold that statement forever. But the Tron mirror match, when Lavinia, aka David, comes into play, she will biblically smite this deck list from the earth, and I will be hyper excited that this is the case. No longer will I have to play like sowing salts to respect this cruddy deck list.
You heard it here first, folks. Lavinia is finally the Tron
I get really
killer.
testy about Tron. It's okay though.
I mean, but so many things have been the Tron killer in the past, right?
Yeah, we have multiples of cards. They give us one like every set. Alpine Moon, Blood Moon, Sowing Salts.
Still here.
Still here. Still kicking. It's the parasite that won't go away.
Actually, I have one
You want one
last
more?
card. I have one last card. Electro Dominance.
Electric Dominance.
Do you remember what this does?
I do. I will say 2 things.
Yeah?
Welcome back, Storm. And God damn it, Ace of Phoenix.
What about Living End? Could it be run? All of the zero mana things. Living End,
I don't wanna
Restore
go on camera
Balance,
whether or not, like-
Ancestral, and Wheel.
I do not believe Electro Dominance can cast those cards because they do not have a mana cost. And not having 0, they don't have one. I don't know the answer to that. I will get fact checked. There will be a big set of text above my head that says I was wrong or I was right.
Wizards, please put out the rules.
Yeah, no, that's it says without paying its mana costs, and some of those cards do not have a mana cost. If you look at Dryad Arbor, it's a creature, right? But it doesn't have a mana cost. You can, or it's fetchable for 0. It's a really wonky wording. We'll have to see how the rules compendium decides to answer these questions. But I think it's good Storm, and if it does work for Living End, hell yeah, sign me up. More
Also,
graveyard decks.
In Storm, if it works with 0 mana stuff, the Wheel.
Yes.
The Wheel and the Ancestral.
The Wheel. What is it? Yeah, it's like 3 mana wheel. Yeah, I'll buy that every day. And it's speed, sure. Yeah. Speaking of red cards, is it Phoenix?
Yep.
You had something you wanted to say?
That was the. I think you said earlier. It's kind of the new Dredge. It's the new main graveyard deck in Modern. So, with graveyard deck shifting from a Dredge to Is It Phoenix, does that change what kind of sideboard tech you should bring?
Yes and no. So, Grafstrader's Cage being number 1, right?
Yeah.
Cards can't enter from libraries or graveyards. That's good enough to stop the Phoenix. I'm pretty sure you can't flash back.
Yeah, I believe it says you can't cast spells from
okay. So,
graveyard.
reminding myself.
I believe that's on the screen right now. So.
The point being is it completely hoses like a play from the yard strategy when you're literally looking to spell sling the Phoenix into play, like cantrips, charter. I don't think they play charter cards, but like things like Opt and Searing Visions and Sleight of Hand. Like you're just literally looking to draw more cards, counter spells, lightning bolts to play your Phoenixes so that they go and kill your opponent. Like Grafdigger's Cage is a great answer, but they're expecting it because they have to respect KCI. Like we didn't get to see a finals, didn't happen on camera, but it was a finals against Is It Phoenix and KCI, which leaves you to believe the question like, was Cases available to beat the KCI deck down? He did beat it in earlier rounds, so it's likely to assume that it is the Boogieman because it can play answers like Ancient Grudge, pitch it in the yard. You get the green mana to cast it later. Like it has that maximum value, that consistency point that gives it that edge over the KCI. But as far as sideboards, we did see somebody play a white sideboard for Phoenix. He had a Stony Silence with no mana to cast it except for Manamorphose. And he blew out Paul Rietzel in game 2. But as far as Is It Phoenix in replacing Dredge, it is the premier Dredge deck. And I hate saying that, but being a Dredge player, I hate saying that, but it's consistent. Whereas Dredge takes a while to set up, you need to put the creature into play and let things play out. It's a longer game. Where Phoenix is like, I'll murder you on 5.
Yeah.
So it's it is a good contender to KCI though. With KCI's consistency rating and Izik's ability to like bring you down, it's great. So,
you mentioned finals. You want to talk a bit more about
what finals?
How exactly? You want to talk a bit more about that?
So there was no finals to be playing on camera. Think like shit happens. You got a plane to catch. You have to concede the match. The point taken from finals is that Cases is now in a great slot to be platinum. According to the Wizards, he has 42 points. 40, 48, 42.
It's okay. It's on the screen right now.
It's on the screen right now. The point being, he has the top 32 a Grand Prix to get the pro points he needs to be platinum. And we've already mentioned in the beginning of this video that the pro system is going away, that the pro club is going away. And the question we have to leave with is, with this system, what is the point of doing these grinds? Like grinding for platinum, grinding for gold. Like, we understand that you get the benefits going into the end of summer, but it comes down to why grind out? Why grind out all these tournaments? Like, play out of these tournaments to get there from A to B in the pro circuit. Like, we saw Paul Rietzel and Sam Black and Cases. These are at least gold players. One of them Hall of Fame. Doing this grind, and not really notables else. Like, not really anybody interested in doing that grind at that Grand Prix level. Like, hopefully in Jersey, this will be a different story. It's East Coast. East Coast usually has a higher representation of professional players. No offense, Midwest, but this is how we roll. And we hope to see more professional players. Obviously, Allegiance is a good point to bring up on that. But like in the pro system points moving forward, like Wizards owes us information in January. They've said it. They said December we're gonna have more information. We're gonna have more information in Arena.
Just tell us, please.
I would like this information before the first Mythic Championship. Like, not just like a half-assed information of, oh, this is how open qualifiers work, and this is how the closed invite onlys work. But they may only give us like the invite only answers, and we have to wait to see how Arena will play into this.
Yeah.
Being in beta and all.
I really hope they don't do some BS like, okay, yeah, it's like, yeah, we'll tell you. Here's when you will find out. And that's what they tell us, is they just give us a date of when they're releasing the
September
info.
into December, it was more information in
and
December.
It was like, please, just tell us.
Yeah, I'd like to at least get the Arena stuff settled before the Mythic Championship.
Yeah.
And if we don't have like an entire thing figured out for the open invites, because the open invites are the interesting stuff because they look like the original PTQ system, then that's fine. As long as you tell us before Mythic Championship, I'll be okay. So that I can at least make another video about that.
And I think speaking of another video, I think we are going to have another video talking about this.
Yeah, as soon as they give us the information that's like viable, we'll have a big breakdown of what it means for because that means there's a different way to track pro players, because the Magic Pro Club's the top 32. It's important because we have no idea how to knock them out of 32. Do we throw rocks at them? I don't know.
No, they're just there forever.
Yeah,
the Immortals.
They're permanently.
They leave when they die.
Good old Jerry Thompson being the people's champion forever. So with the run in the pro club going on, it's safe to say that hopefully Magic will do better at communicating in this forward, and hopefully Channel Fireball will be better at doing coverage moving forward. I was happy to see Reduke there, but I think that's all we have for today. Like, hopefully we'll get more information, but do all the things, hit the bell.
Yeah, that's it for us. So see you guys next episode.
Bye.